One of the biggest Microsoft 365 announcements so far in 2021 is Microsoft Viva, the employee experience platform based on Microsoft Teams. It's made up of 4 different modules: Viva Connections, Viva Learning, Viva Insights, and Viva Topics. At Microsoft Ignite in the spring of 2021, Microsoft promised us that Viva Connection will be available on March 31st, 2021. And today, well, it's March 30th. It's a bit past midnight. It's actually March 31st. And I wanted to check, is it available yet? And I got lucky. Everything needed to set up Viva Connections is there, so I wanted to record this first look video on how do you set up Viva Connections? What do you need in order to get it set up? What does the PowerShell script that Microsoft tells you to run actually do? And what does Viva Connections actually look like in a real tenant? So I'm really excited about this, so let's get started. Okay, I am now in my demo environment, and first of all, let me open up the browser where I am in the documentation page for adding Viva Connections to Microsoft Teams desktop. And this link will be available in the video description. This way you have a quick access to it. So if we take a look at a documentation quick until we configure it, we have an introduction to Microsoft Viva Connections, a nice screenshot with some of the benefits here, and then an important part which tells us what we need in order to configure it. Some of the highlights, and we'll go over it as well as we configure it. You need to be a SharePoint Online administrator to create the Teams app, and then you need to be also a Teams administrator in order to deploy it to your users. Now I know that some of you only manage the SharePoint side of things and not the Teams side of things, so you're going to need to work with your Teams admin to get this deployed. Viva Connections will only work with modern SharePoint sites and pages. If you try to open a classic SharePoint site, it will open up in the browser. So I will get back to the documentation later, but for now, what's really important and what you need to download is the Viva Connections for Desktop PowerShell script. This will bring us to the Microsoft Download Center. It will download automatically as a zip file. So let me go here, show in folder, and then let me go extract all. Let's get this done. And if we go inside of the folder, I have a README here. Let me open this with a notepad over here that gives me some information about what I need, as well as the documentation. I have the license, and then I have the PowerShell script. So let me open up the PowerShell script here. Let's take a look at what the PowerShell script does before we run it, because we never just download script off the internet and then run them without understanding them, right? So first thing the script does, it will run an install module, and it will download the SharePoint Online PowerShell, and it has this minimum version, which is actually not the latest version of the SharePoint Online PowerShell module, so you might already be on a newer one. After that, it will ask you, we see we have a read host here with a prompt. Enter the link of the SharePoint portal that you want to pin in Microsoft Teams. Please ensure that it's a modern communication site, and we recommend that you use a home site. So really important, you need to give it a communication site. However, a home site is highly recommended. After that, it will validate the site URL, and it will connect us to SharePoint Online. So connect SPO service on the URL HTTPS host element, which is basically it splits the domain. So it will take the name of your tenant-admin.sharepoint.com, and if you can't connect, it will tell you current user has permission, proceeding with app creation, or if not, it will give you an error because either you have a bad SharePoint site in there, so not a modern communication site, or you're not a SharePoint Online admin. Great. Now if we go to the next things, it will do its thing. It will get what the search URL path is. This is used when, and I'll just go back to the documentation here, and we'll of course see it in the demo, but when you search from Teams while being in the app, you're going to be able to search and click, it will open the search page of your site, and this way people can search inside of the intranet from Teams, even if it opens up a different browser. However, Microsoft is taking care of actually building up that URL. Great. After that, it will ask you a bunch of information, and I think a lot of it is in the README that we had over here. You have all of the things that you need to provide, but first thing is the name of the application. So please enter the name of your app as you want to appear in Microsoft Teams. What I would tell you to do is put the name of your intranet, so the hub, for example, or home, or however your intranet is named, put the same name in there. Next up, get the short description. So enter a short description under 80 characters. This is the Contoso intranet, for example. So this is what people will see when they browse the App Store or when they look at the information about the app. You have a short description here, and then we have a long description, which can be up to 4,000 characters. This is really useful in my opinion when you're going to publish an app on the Team Store or things like that. But as this, you'll probably deploy it to all of your employees. You don't have to do it manually. It's not as important, but it's still something that you have to do. After that, you need to have the privacy policy link. This is something that maybe as a SharePoint admin you do not have. Talk to your legal team or your HR team. They will have it for sure. If you do not add anything, it will automatically default to privacy.microsoft.com. So the Microsoft privacy link, and then the same thing for the terms and usage policy link. So you can either add your own terms and usage, or if not, it will go to the Microsoft one by default. Next up, get the company name. This one should be pretty easy for you to do. Your company name, and then your company website. If you do not put any, it will default to Microsoft Corp and the link to Microsoft.com. Great. After that, what will happen, and I will scroll down a bit as it does a few things on its own. For example, generating a GUID, finding what your desktop path is. It will ask you for the color and outline icon packs from the user. So this is something that you need to have ready. And I'll go back to the documentation here. I saw it in here earlier when you had to prepare. I will scroll down. You need to have the two teams icons. And there's actually a really cool link that you can give to your design team. And I'll make sure to add it in the description of the video. In order to create a Teams app, you need to have one of them, which is 192 pixels by 192 pixels. And you see you have a safe region here in the middle. And you can view the example of what it looks like in different things. So this is the first one. And then the second one is a transparent one, which is 32 by 32 pixels. So it's really important because this is what your users will see when they open up Teams, when they search for the app. So You want to make it as pretty as possible, and you also have some best practices here for your design team. Again, I'm a techie myself, I'm bad at doing this. I managed to put something together for this video, but if you're in an enterprise environment, definitely send this to your design team and they'll give you something that will look amazing. So the script will ask me, first of all, it will ask me for the please upload colored icon 192 times 192, and then please upload outline icon 32 by 32. After that, that's it. That's all we need to do. And then Microsoft, what they will do in this script is basically generate a Teams app manifest, which is in JSON with all of the information that we gave it. And at the end, it will create a zip file, which is a Teams app that we then will go in the Teams Admin Center and deploy. So great, let me open up PowerShell now. I actually have it here. Let's run it as an administrator here. Of course, let's get the pad over here. Let's change. Great, let's clean this up and let's run it. Viva Connections desktop.ps1. Great, security warning. I trust the script. I want to run it. I have the description. This script will generate a Teams app package that will allow you to pin your SharePoint intranet in Teams. Please ensure you have SharePoint admin privileges in your tenant before running the script. After that, and we'll take a look at what it did. So this is the right host. After that, it installed the module. Then I need to provide it the home site. Let me go in SharePoint here. I actually set up the home site at the root of my tenant. And of course, I configured the global navigation. So let me copy this link here. Let's put it into PowerShell. Now it will need to validate stuff. And I need to enter my username and password in order to connect. And let's see, everything went well. I was able to connect. My site is good. Now let me enter the name of your app. So I will call it the Hub. I really suggest keeping it short. This way you can see all of the text in the Teams app bar. So if you go in Teams, you don't want it to be too long. So try to keep it pretty short. Don't put like your long company name intranet because users are not going to see it all. So I'll put the hub in here, a short description. I'll put Teams app for the hub company intranet. Great. Long description. Again, I'm in a demo tenant, so it's not as important. What I will put is Teams application for our intranet. Ask IT for any help. There we go. Now I need to provide the privacy policy link. Again, this is something that can be really important in an enterprise environment. But for this demo, I do not have it. It's a demo tenant. So I'll just press enter and it will default to the Microsoft one. Same thing for the terms of use. For the organization name, I will just put here Contoso Demo Inc. For the organization public website, I will leave it empty. It will go to the Microsoft one. And now I need to give it the icons. First of all, the 192 by 192. So let me go in here. This is the one I have. I tried to create something pretty for this video. Click on open. And then the 32 by 32 one, I have one that's very similar, just the H in white from the hub. So let me select this. And then great. That's it. That's all I had to do. And I have here in the description, please find the app manifest in C, users Vlad desktop. It basically puts it on your desktop. So this should be super easy. So I have the zip file here. Now you do not unzip it. What you need to do is Again, if you're a Teams admin, you can do it yourself. If you're not a Teams admin, you're only a SharePoint admin, this is where you need to get a Teams admin involved. I will go to the Teams Admin Center, so admin.teams.microsoft.com. On the left bar, under Teams app, I will go under Manage Apps, and then I will go Upload an application. Yes, I am sure this is a good app. It has been tested, so let me select a file. I will go to the desktop, and I will select the hub zip. Let me click on Open. Everything should work out fine. It will take maybe 20, 30 seconds. And we got the green check mark at the top, which is good. Added the hub to the list. And if I actually search here the hub, I will find my Teams app. I was scared there for a few seconds for the icon, but it worked well. And you can see I have the hub. I have my logo here. It's allowed. I have the short description in here. If I go at the permissions, doesn't have any and not that many settings, and it's there. So now people can add it. I will not cover everything, all of the details of the app policies. If you want to learn more, I'll put a link in the description to my Pluralsight course. I have a whole module in here on how to deploy and manage Microsoft Teams customization if you want to know all of the details. But just for this video, what I will do is I will go into the setup policies and I will go in my org-wide default policy. Again, if in an enterprise environment, make sure you sync with your Teams admin, as you can have many policies in there for different people. So it's important that you understand what you do before you do what I'm doing in this video. I explain everything how it works in my Pluralsight course, but it would take hours to re-explain it in here, so I'll just do it for my demo tenant. But I cannot stress how important it is for you to understand Teams policies before you start deploying things. First of all, under installed apps, let me go under add apps and let me search for the hub. I have it here, so I will add it to be installed by default. And then I also want to make it pinned for everybody. So as an admin, I can actually choose what apps show up here on the left for users, as well as the order. So I'll go under add apps here. I will go for the hub. Let me add it. Let me click on add, and then I will move it up to the top. This way it's the first one there. Now it might take some time, and I can see we cannot save the app setup policy right now. What's the problem that it have? Let's try this again. Maybe a quick refresh will work, or Teams does not want to work for me this late at night. So let me try again. Setup policies, org-wide default. Let me try one thing at a time. The hub here. Let's go on here. Let's click on save. Okay, it really doesn't like me. However, it's not that bad. We're going to be able to demo Viva Connections still. We might have to add it manually. I guess that I saw on Twitter a bit earlier there was a Teams outage, so that might be the case. So let me just try to add it here. Let's try to put it at the top. Click on save. No. Okay, so Microsoft Teams Admin Center doesn't like us today. It doesn't allow us to actually configure the setup policy, so it's pinned by default. But that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to add it manually. So let me open up Microsoft Teams over here, and I will go in apps here. Actually, let me go at the bottom here in apps. And what I will do is built for Contoso, I will see the app. So if I click on it, I see the hub, Contoso, I see the nice icon I added, I see the description. Remember the long description, Teams application for our intranet, ask IT for any help. and I will click on add. And because I can pin, I can add it to the top here. Again, if the Teams Admin Center works, which it does 99.99% of the time, except when I need it for a video at 1:30 in the morning, you will be fine. But if not, your users can still add it manually. Great, so this is Viva Connections. It's a personal Teams applications. It's branded to your needs and something that is really cool. And this is the first time that I actually see a Teams app do that. So you see I'm in the Teams app. I really have a full screen version of my beautiful SharePoint-based intranet. However, something that is unique is I can click on the icon again and I actually see the SharePoint app bar. So I have access to my global navigation here, and if I don't want to see it, I just click on the app icon again. This is the first time that I see a Teams app take advantage of this technology. So I really have the navigation for the site over here. I have the navigation for the hub here at the top if you have it configured. And then you have the global nav that if you click on the app icon, you will see it. So that's something that I found really awesome. You have the global nav, my sites, so the sites that you follow, my news, and you can click on see more in order to see all of them, which will show you the full list. If you want to use the back button, there's actually here at the top in Teams, you can click back and it brings you where you have to be. So this is the first cool thing. I mean, the first cool thing is really having your intranet inside Microsoft Teams. The second really cool thing is your global navigation that it's not always there. It's only there when you need it. The third cool thing, if you compare it to your actual SharePoint site, if I go in the SharePoint site here, it asks me to sign in again. I have the new option here, so ability to edit, all of the edit pages, things like that. I do not see that in Viva Connections, so it's really great for consuming content. Really focuses on having access to the pages, being able to consume things. So I find that that's really, again, really unique, really nice. It knows what it wants to do as an application. And something else that's nice is that at the top right, I actually have different options compared to when I browse this in SharePoint. In SharePoint, in the browser, I have the create site. Am I following or not following it here? Do I want to share? However, in Microsoft Teams, I have the follow. I have the copy link. So this is really nice because maybe you're in Viva Connections, you found a page, you want to send it to somebody. You can quickly click the copy link, then go in the browser or send it to somebody, and it brings you directly to that page. So I found that really, really nice. You can also refresh the page if you want to, or if you prefer to go visit that page in the browser, you have a one-click option that will open up your default browser and bring you there. So this is the third cool thing with Viva Connection. And the last one is the search. From the search here at the top, I can search, for example, for Mark 8. I can search directly in my intranet, but you have to be careful. This is something that I think some users might have troubles with at first, because by default, you kind of want to press enter to view all of the results. However, even if I have a news here called Mark 8, if I use the first one, it will not find that news. It will bring me to some checks. But let me go back here. Let me search Mark 8 again. You see the second option is Mark 8, search in the hub. It took it away. There we go. Search in the hub. And this will actually open the SharePoint site in the browser. And let me actually log in because I think I'm connected with another tenant in this browser. So let me recopy my username here. It will ask me use another account. There we go. Let's put in the password as well. Where it will bring you really to the search page of that site so you can search across all of SharePoint because again, this is a home site. So you're searching in all of SharePoint, not only in that specific site. So this is Viva Connection, a first look. I thought it would be a short video, but it still ended up being at least 30 minutes. Before we're done, let's just go back to the documentation and review some of the important things that you need to know before you set this up. So I will just scroll through the documentation and we'll cover the important things. So first of all, we have looked at the 5 cool things because I find that the first cool thing is simply having your intranet inside Teams, having the global nav here, having both your site and hub navigation, having the links to share content, and the search at the top. And of course, if you have multilingual enabled, you would also have the multilingual switch as they have here in the screenshot. After that, really important stuff as something that you need to know is that if you really customize the header with custom code, custom CSS, it might not work for Viva Connections because it does some changes there. Remember, you cannot edit the nav, you have different options in here, so it does do some changes. So if you have custom code, make sure that you try it in a demo tenant before you actually deploy it to everyone. Also, Viva Connection is only available for desktop today. It will be available for mobile in summer 2020, so it's still a few months until we can get it on mobile. Today, it's only desktop. And if we actually take a look at the manifest, I will just scroll down as I was examining it earlier. The app actually only shows on desktop. I'll just do a quick search here, supported platform, desktop. So it's really not for mobile. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Let me go back. After that, you have all of the preparation. So telling you what are the requirements. Make sure that the global navigation is enabled in SharePoint. There is a bit of conflicting wording in here because this says requirements and then it says it is recommended that global navigation is enabled. So I'm not sure if it's a hard requirement or just a recommendation based on this wording. I have it enabled in all of my tenants, so I'd have to disable it and check. But just be careful, it might be a requirement that you need that global navigation. Now, recommendations under, you should use a SharePoint home site. This must be configured by your admin with PowerShell. So this is something that is really recommended you have. And then Viva Connections will only work with modern SharePoint sites and pages. It will not work with classic. Then you have the step-by-step, so set up a SharePoint home site, enable the global nav and customize navigational links, and then create a Viva Connection app package in PowerShell, which is what we have done in this video. After that, we have some information here on the PowerShell script, so you need to be a SharePoint admin, you need to have the good PowerShell version. They say you need to have it, but as we have seen, the script will actually download or update it as well. And then there's actually a list of the things you need to have. So this is really nice because you can set yourself a checklist of everything that you need to have before you get started. An important note, Microsoft does not have access to any information provided by you while running the script. Great. After that, upload the Viva Connection desktop package in the Teams Admin Center. So this is what we have done successfully. And then manage and pin the app by default for your users. This is what we have tried to do, but the Teams Admin Center didn't show us any love, so we were not able to do this one, but you do have some documentation here on how to do it. And at the end, help end users understand how to use Viva Connections, and you have a link to some end user training here. It's only a page, but it can help you with your change management process. At the end, you have a nice FAQ with a bunch of questions as well as more resources. This is it for this video on the first look for Viva Connections. I'm really excited that it's finally available. I think that with so many users inside Microsoft Teams, having your intranet in there just makes sense. And at the end of the day, it's yet another channel for your users to actually consume the communications that your intranet team creates in there. So there's literally nothing negative about giving users another choice on how to consume content. This is it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel so you stay up to date with the latest videos like this around Microsoft 365, SharePoint, PowerShell certifications. I really try to put a video out there weekly, so make sure you subscribe to the notifications as well. And this is really the first view of Viva Connections. Microsoft will really invest to add a lot more features on it. So I look forward to learning more about it myself, deploy it to my clients, and create other content around the best practices for Viva Connections. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed.